I used to think the only scary thing about 1960 was duck and cover drills at school. In Hollow Creek, one gas station, one diner, and two churches, nothing truly bad lasted long. Then the clowns came. They didn't arrive with a circus, at least not one anyone remembered buying tickets for. People said they showed up after midnight on a Tuesday, when the freight line cut through town and the crickets were louder than the radio. By morning, black and white patrol photos showed the first mark. A little red smile brushed across the glass door of Green's Pharmacy lipstick at first glance, paint on closer look. Beneath it, 3 dots in a neat triangle. The sheriff said it was a prank. Teenagers, probably. Go on home, he told Mr. Green, wash it off. 2 nights later, the same red smile appeared on Mrs. Leary's back porch. She woke to the dog barking and found her wind chimes tangled, strings cut, back door rattled. Again, paint. Again, the 3 dots. That Friday, the Hollow Creek varsity boys lost 2-1, and half the town drowned the disappointment in malted shakes at the diner. We were still there when the lights flickered. For 3 slow seconds the room went dark, then bright again, perfect timing for laughter to rise from outside, wrong kind of laughter, tinny, breathless, like someone trying on a different voice. The sheriff cruised by, saw nothing. We did our best to do the same. A week later, I learned how long a minute can last. I was 16 and working the evening shift at the roller rink for pocket change. Sweeping up, flipping chairs, turning the key in the jukebox to OFF. The exit sign glowed weak and the last couple of kids wobbled out to their parents' cars. When the parking lot emptied, I heard it, wheels on wood. A single skate push, pause, push somebody in the dark rink trying to be funny. Hey, I called, voice bouncing off the rafters. We're closed. No answer. I walked out onto the floor with the flashlight and the beam sliced through dust that shouldn't have been there. Then I saw it, a red smile painted dead center on the scoreboard. Fresh. Wet. I turned toward the exit, and a shadow moved along the concession counter. I swung the light and caught a figure in a white face, mouth too wide, eyes ringed in black, hair tucked under a newsboy cap instead of a wig. A clown, if a clown had read a manual wrong. He didn't charge. He just stood, tilting his head to the rhythm of my breath. Then he raised a hand and tapped his own cheek 3 times, 1 dot, 2 dots, 3 like punctuation. Who's in here? My question came out smaller than I wanted. From the darkness came a second sound, a squeak, like 2 balloons rubbing. Another pale face peeked over the counter. Then another, near the skate racks. 3 clowns, no talking, all turned toward me as if they'd rehearsed it. I took a step back and found the wall with my shoulder blades. The door behind me opened. Relief hit like oxygen, but it wasn't the owner. It was a man I didn't recognize, not painted. 30, maybe. Calm in a way that felt wrong. He set a hand on my shoulder and, with a voice patient as a teacher, said, "Go home, son." His other hand held a small roller brush dripping red. I ran. Outside, my breath steamed in the cold. By the time the sheriff got there, the only proof was paint on the scoreboard and an open service hatch in the alley. He took my statement, told my mother I was spooked, told the paper it was mischief and that he'd be tightening the patrols. Tightening didn't help Mrs. Leary. 2 nights later, her kitchen window was found cracked from the inside, the latch broken, the sill marked with the same 3 dots. She swore she'd locked it. The dog was missing. The next morning, kids walking to school found a dog collar hanging from the oak tree near the water tower. Red paint streaked the bark beneath it, a wide smiling mouth. Rumors fueled themselves. Somebody said the clowns were just a pack of boys from the next county in borrowed carnival makeup. Somebody else said it was 3 brothers whose father worked the railroad, drifters who hid in boxcars. When the county paper ran a short item about a vandal gang in costume, the comments started calling them the Clown Gang. The name stuck like paint. Then people began sleeping with the radio on. Men cleaned guns they hadn't touched since the war. Mothers walked their kids right into homeroom and looked long at the hallway mirrors, as if they'd catch a second pair of eyes peeking from the polished glass. The sheriff finally did something. Curfew. Patrol cars idling outside the diner, the rink, the high school. Volunteers took shifts. Hollow Creek became a place that sat up late and pretended it wasn't afraid. I saw them again the following Sunday at church, of all places. Not the faces those I never forgot, but the marks. A smile swiped high on the bell tower door, barely visible. 3 dots over the latch like a brand. In the hum after the service, I overheard the deacon say, "They're mapping, I think." Mapping what? That night I biked past the freight yard, something I promised my mother I wouldn't do. Boxcars lined up like dark teeth. Beyond them, the old cannery squatted along the river with its windows punched out and its brick walls stained with time and rust. A red slash glimmered faintly on one of the loading doors. Not a mouth this time. An arrow. I should have gone home. I should have told the sheriff in the morning. Instead, I followed the arrow to the loading bay and found the first thing that made my stomach drop in a way paint never could. A little row of chairs, child-sized school chairs set in a line facing the river, their backs daubed with 3 dots each, like a private audience had been seated there and told to watch the current. A whistle blew down by the switchyard. Voices carried. The sound of wheels metal on metal, carts or trolleys scraped somewhere inside the cannery making echoes do tricks. I backed away fast, tires slipping in gravel, heart too big for my chest. By Monday, the sheriff had 3 new reports of clowns at 3 different addresses, Mr. Green's again, the Johnson's barn, and a farm supply shed 4 miles out. When he posted an update, someone tacked a note over it with carpentry nails, "We smile because you look away." That's the part one couldn't shake. Not the makeup, not the men who wore it, not even the patient man with the roller brush. The feeling that the clown gang didn't just want to scare us, they wanted to teach us something about how terror works, how it gets in when you blink. 2 nights later, the first person went missing. Her name was Naomi. She was 21 and worked mornings at the diner, nights at the cannery office counting boxes. She was last seen walking home on Elm, carrying her shoes because the heel had snapped. On her front steps, across the riser, someone had painted a red smile, thin, neat, careful, turned upside down like a frown. The sheriff finally conceded what everyone else had already decided: it wasn't a prank anymore. That's when the men in plain suits came, the kind that say state without a badge. They pushed the sheriff aside gently and began asking different questions: who had keys to the cannery, which boxcars sat idle the longest, which of the carnival companies ever stopped here when the fairground on Route 7 was still in use. They circled dates. They drew little maps. I watched from the bench outside the post office and felt that terrible Hollow Creek thing, how the sky stays bright even when the road gets dark. My hands smelled like lemon oil from polishing skate rails. The radio in the barbershop window said a cold front was coming. The next evening, I went back to the cannery. This time I didn't bring a flashlight. I brought my father's old camera, the kind that clicks loud enough to make you feel you're stealing something. I slipped through a tear in the chain link and walked the narrow path between the river and the brick. The loading door was ajar. Inside, a single string of light bulbs hung low, powered from who knew where, buzzing like insects. Someone had swept. Someone had made a space. On the concrete sat 3 suitcases, one yellow, one brown, one red. Their latches were undone, their lids open. Each held a costume folded just so: a coat, a pair of pants, a cap. No wigs. At the bottom of each suitcase lay a mask someone had cut from canvas and painted by hand: white base, black eyes, red mouth stitched along the edges like the seamstress had been determined not to let anything escape. Behind the suitcases, set on a crate, sat a small tape recorder. A voice clicked on, calm as a teacher. "Look up," it said. I did, and saw the message scrawled across the high wall in paint that had not yet dried, letters dripping like tears. "We smile because you look away." The tape continued. "You wanted to know if we're real," the voice said, unhurried. "You wanted to know why the marks. We'll show you. But you have to learn to look." Footsteps sounded in the dark corridor to my left, soft, deliberate. A figure appeared at the edge of the light. White face, black eye rings, a cap pulled low. He lifted a hand, 3 taps to his cheek: dot, dot, dot. And behind him, deeper inside the cannery, 2 more shadows straightened from where they'd been waiting. I lifted the camera and took a picture. The flash blew the room to white. When my sight returned, the 3 canvas faces were closer. The tape recorder clicked off. And that's where I should say I ran, but I didn't. I waited, because for the first time since the red smiles began, I wanted to see what they wanted us to see. I learned, in that cold room by the river, that the clown gang wasn't only a gang. It was a plan. I don't know how long the four of us stood there, me, 3 clowns, 1 tape deck. The bulbs hummed like a swarm. Somewhere water lapped against the pilings. Then, as if agreeing the moment had ripened, the nearest clown turned his canvas face toward the suitcases and gestured not a flourish, just a small businessman's wave as if to say, "Start here." I stepped closer. The yellow suitcase smelled faintly of citrus cleaner, the kind used in school hallways. The folded jacket was lined. The cap, when I touched it, was damp. Inside the coat pocket lay a child's plastic whistle in the shape of a bird. When I looked up, the clown nodded once yes, then tapped the 3 dots on his cheek again, slower this time, like a metronome. They were teaching. The red suitcase held a folded drop cloth not part of a costume at all and a roller frame, bristles stiff with dry paint. Beneath the cloth was a paper sack. Inside the sack, coins and tokens from the roller rink, our tokens, and a crumpled schedule from the diner with 3 names circled. Naomi, 2 others I won't write here, because their families still live in Hollow Creek. The brown suitcase held nothing but shoes, men's, women's, children's, none brand new, none matching, each wiped clean. On the lid someone had sneaked a message in pencil: "If you see what we see, you'll stop pretending." My throat went dry. "What is this?" I asked, voice bigger than I felt. "What are you trying to?" The nearest clown raised a gloved finger and pressed the tape button. The voice returned, calm. "Every town has 3 faces," it said. "The one on Sundays. The one at work. And the one it wears when no one's watching. We like the 3rd one best." Footsteps again, not from my left this time but behind me, heels on concrete, purposeful. I spun and saw a man in a suit, no makeup, no cap, carrying a clipboard. One of the plain suit investigators. He walked past without seeing me, eyes on his notes, then turned a corner and disappeared. After a few seconds, the tape clicked once more. "Looking away," the voice said, "is an old habit in Hollow Creek." The clown nearest me plucked the plastic bird whistle from the yellow suitcase and handed it over. I didn't raise it to my lips. I understood what they wanted: sound, attention, an alarm. Instead, I set it back. The canvas mouth on his face didn't change, but something about his shoulders did. Approval, maybe. Up close, I could see tiny stitches along the jawline where someone had repaired a tear with care I didn't expect from a vandal. I finally asked the only question that mattered. "Where is Naomi?" No one moved. A long minute leaked away. The clown at the suitcases opened his hands, empty palms, then pointed not toward the river or the freight yard but upward toward the catwalks that webbed the cannery roof. I followed his finger to a shadow suspended above us, an office cube that jutted out from the wall, glass on 3 sides, once the foreman's perch. Something faint glinted on its window, a curve of red, a smile half-wiped, as if someone had changed their mind. I took the narrow stairs. The clowns stayed below, heads tilted, tracking me like owls. The office door creaked. Inside, a desk, a coffee tin, a chair knocked on its side. On the desk, a ledger opened to a page where someone had written 3 names in pencil and a date: last Tuesday. Beside the names, 3 dots, triangle. The window was sticky to the touch paint that hadn't dried right. I heard a noise behind me and turned too fast. My shoulder struck the glass and a hairline crack veined the pane. Below, all 3 clowns snapped their heads in unison toward the sound. The tape deck clicked off. For a heartbeat, none of us breathed. Then an engine coughed somewhere outside and headlights licked the far wall. I peered down and saw a plain sedan nosing to the loading bay. The suited investigator who had drifted past me earlier stepped out, checked his watch, and opened the trunk. Another man climbed from the passenger seat, older, heavier, a cigarette already lit. They didn't look like state men anymore. They looked like men who had traded their emblems for errands. The older one rapped twice on the sedan's roof. 2 more figures stepped from the shadows, moving like they knew exactly where to go. No makeup. No canvas. No need to teach me anything I hadn't already learned. The gang wasn't just kids in paint. They wheeled a dolly from the dark corridor. On it, 3 sealed crates stenciled with cannery logos faded to ghosts. The older man signed the clipboard the investigator held. Commercial voices carried, flat, ordinary. "You sure about Tuesday?" the older one asked. "Same time," the investigator said. "And the girl?" He said it the way someone asks if a tire's been patched. "Not here," the investigator said. "Not anymore." That's when the closest clown finally moved. He didn't lunge. He stepped into the circle of light just enough for his canvas face to be undeniable, his red smile too wide for bone. The older man looked up, froze, and instead of calling out he smiled back. Not confused. Recognizing. Everything snapped into place, ugly and simple. The paint wasn't a mask. It was a permission slip. Costumes kept the town focused on the wrong face while the right hands moved crates and money and people. The clown gang was a ghost story hung like a curtain in front of something men already knew how to do in daylight: make people disappear. The older man lifted his cigarette, took a thoughtful drag, then flicked ash onto the concrete with a small, practiced twist. He didn't shout for help. He didn't chase the clowns. He checked his watch again and said, "You're early." The clown nearest the suitcases tapped his cheek 3 times, slow. Dot. 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 Then he reached down, took the roller frame from the red suitcase, and rolled a fresh smile across the nearest crate wide and neat, then pressed the roller into the older man's hand. The message couldn't have been plainer: "Your turn." He hesitated. Not fear calculation. Then, with a tiny chuckle I will remember when I'm old, he rolled a second smile over the first, red over red. Below me, the tape clicked on one final time. The calm-voiced teacher steady said, "Now that you've looked, you're responsible. If there was a moment to run, to find the sheriff, to call my mother, it was then," but the truth hit hard and left no air. The sheriff didn't stop this the first month because he couldn't. The state men didn't drive in because they cared. The paint didn't shout because we wouldn't listen. Hollow Creek didn't have 3 clowns. It had 3 faces. And the third one, the one no one wanted to see, was smiling. I snapped a photo. Flash. White. When the light settled, the clowns were gone like they'd taken the voltage with them. The older man shielded his eyes, swore, and barked to the investigator, "Kill that light." The bulbs went dark. In the sudden black, I backed into the foreman's chair and it scraped loud enough to wake a river. "Someone's up there," the investigator said. Feet pounded the stairs. I ducked behind the desk, pushed the ledger into my jacket, and took the only exit left, the window. The hairline crack spidered as I put weight on it. A voice below shouted something I won't print. The window gave, the world tilted, and I fell 3 feet into an old canvas hopper that smelled like rust and rain. I rolled, landed hard, sprinted for the tear in the fence, slid through brambles, and didn't stop until the water tower was behind me and the church bell looked like a fingernail moon. I didn't go home. I went to Naomi's mother's house. Her porch light was on. In the glow I could see paint smeared faintly under the riser where the upside-down smile had been. I knocked until my knuckles hurt. Her mother opened, hair pinned back, robe tied tight. When I said Naomi's name my voice cracked. I told her what I'd seen. I told her everything. The suitcases, the tape, the men. I held out the ledger like it might answer her. She didn't scream. She didn't faint. She led me to the kitchen table, laid the ledger down like a hot pan, and said, "We're going to the church." By 10 minutes past midnight, 5 cars idled outside the chapel. By 11:30, men who'd come to sit with radios and shotguns now came to pray and make plans. The deacon spread the ledger and the volunteers traced names with clean fingers. I told them about the tape. Someone said the word racket. Someone else said police and someone else said no. The sheriff arrived, hat in hand, eyes older than ours. He read. He pressed his lips thin. He said, "I might lose my job for this next part," and then drew us a map of the cannery no blueprint ever showed. We went before dawn. There are parts one won't tell online. Not to protect anyone guilty, but because some things belong to paper statements, not videos. I'll say this much: when the sun hauled itself over the river, Hollow Creek had 3 canvases less and 3 men in cuffs who didn't look like clowns at all. The tape deck squealed as if it knew it had done enough. The suitcases were gone, emptied, dismantled, vanished, but the ledger stayed, and the foreman's office smelled like red paint and old fear. Naomi wasn't there. By afternoon, the state sent new men in different suits. The older man with the cigarette looked tired in the back of the cruiser. The investigator kept staring at his empty hands like he'd lost something he could never explain without using the word mask. 2 days later, a farmer a county over found a young woman walking along a ditch road, shoes in her hand, heel snapped. She didn't talk for a week. When she did, she said she'd been in a place that smelled like lemons and rust. Naomi came home. She keeps her curtains open now. She keeps a whistle on a string above her sink. Not a bird, exactly, but close. Hollow Creek learned a lesson that summer. The red smiles stopped. The 3 dots faded under new paint. The diner's jukebox got fixed and the roller rink replaced the scoreboard. We did what towns do, we called it over and went on. But sometimes, when the freight line sings at night and the kitchen light goes off and the window glass shows just a thin version of your face, you'll swear you see another mouth behind yours, a curve, neat and careful, waiting for you to blink. If you keep looking, it fades. If you look away, you can almost hear it teaching. We smile because you look away. And because now you've looked, you're responsible.